Margaret Sanger in the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, on record in public letters with the Rockefeller Foundation saying we've got to pose as liberals, get the black leaders in place so we can abort most of them, and they've been successful. 51% of blacks never make it out of utero. They're murdered in the womb. So they did that, and they talk about controlling black leaders by financing them. So we know that that's their strategic plan. And Martin Luther King got off the reservation, so they took him out.
Well, absolutely. And so you look back in 1960, and is it beyond the pale to consider the fact that they may have wanted to groom somebody from a very early age, like a baby? You know, you've got his parents and his grandparents basically in their pocket, and then you've got this stuff about behavioral science work at the University of Hawaii. There's just so many gaps in the histories of not only the president, but also his mother, his father, his grandfather, and his grandmother on his mother's side. So when you see gaps like that, now you look at any other president, those families we knew way too much. My God, Roger Clinton, Billy Carter, but in this case we have these significant gaps in their histories, and I think that's something that people should be concerned about.
Wayne, I think that's the key that you just hit on. You have all this effort to cover up the past. You've got CIA connections to your left, your right, forward, and backwards at every level. You have got the fact that they've spent so much time, not just in the present, but going back decades covering up his true providence and where he comes from. And then, as you said, all these intelligence and corporate intelligence and foundation connections. And now he's the president, and we know they have these programs to go in, not just here, but all over the world, and recruit leaders. I mean, the British recruited Hitler, that's declassified, in the mid-20s, and took him from nowhere and funded the National Socialists to make him their leader. And the Milner Group bragged, we're going to build this guy up, and he's going to tear Europe up. And then we're going to be able to come in and rebuild it and take it over. I mean, this is their long-term strategic thinking. And when you look at Obama and everything he's done, it's clear this guy is a total betrayer of everything he claims to be.
Well, you remember last November when old man Bush, HW 41, and Jeb Bush paid what was called a courtesy call to the White House. We were not even told what that was about, a courtesy call. That's all we were told. Well, you know, you've got the guy who the CIA headquarters is named after, and his son visiting Obama, and it's just, oh, we were in town, we thought we'd stop by. Look, that doesn't happen at the White House. I mean, those Salahis aside, you don't get into the White House unless you have a reason to be there.
So, I mean, obviously you're saying their plan was to have a controlled asset who was supposedly African-American in there. That's clear. But how is their plan going? I mean, did they mean for him to be a messianic leader and be successful? And has their attempted launch of this African-American Napoleon failed? Or did they plan to just use him as a distraction and then destroy him?
Well, I think he's given them everything they want. Look, Operation Iraqi Freedom is now Operation New Dawn. I mean, right out of George Orwell's Newspeak lexicon, we're shown pictures of convoys leaving Iraq. 50,000 troops are going to stay, and we're going to see an increase in contractors. What's that all about?
By the way, I have the New York Times today on that. They say, oh, private contractors and intelligence operatives will now run the government. So this is a practice run for the U.S. and other countries where they don't just stage coups, they come in and put in their entire apparatus through these giant armored embassies and control everything and just have plainclothes death squads running the nation.
Well, that's right. And look what Obama, right after he comes in, he allows the CIA to overthrow President Zelaya in Honduras. He wants to build 7 military bases in Colombia, and the Constitutional Court of Colombia just shot that down. So, you know, what Obama wants to do is now being shot down by the court in Colombia. I mean, this guy is owned lock, stock, and barrel by these intelligence, the intelligence community, because he's not said no to them ever. I mean, Patriot Act still in effect. We have increase in electronic surveillance. We got these deals between the CIA and Google NSA and Google and Microsoft and everything else. And so he ran on openness. The Freedom of Information Act is still not being implemented. It's still backlogged. Requests are not being honored. So, I mean, everything he ran on, he has lied on very fundamental constitutional issues. And we were told that he taught constitutional law at the University of Chicago Law School. I don't know which law he was teaching, because when you look at his actions, it looks like he's teaching the Constitution of North Korea, not of the United States of America.
You know, I laugh, but it isn't funny. This is really happening. And, I mean, this is really the private offshore corporate takeover of society. They're setting up their fusion centers run by the CIA in every major city. They're federalizing the police. They're training U.S. SWAT teams in Iraq for cordon, for shutting down cities, for gun confiscations. At the G20 in Pittsburgh, my employee got arrested, Rob Dew. He saw people being let off trucks with bags on their heads. The Army would then, when they had to go to the bathroom, to follow them and then make fun of them. And this was all encouraged, like something right out of 1984. And they had private snatch and grab teams in front of news cameras on purpose, grabbing activists, putting bags on their heads. Now it happened in Toronto. Same thing in England. They are globally deploying a scientifically developed corporate oppression, a corporate black op tyranny. And, I mean, clearly, this is the complete shadow takeover, and now it's out in the open. I mean, this is so illegal, Wayne.
Well, let me say another thing about Obama. You know, he has had scheduled 2 trips to visit Indonesia. Both trips have been postponed. You know, I think he knows that when he arrives in Jakarta, the Indonesian press, some foreign press, will start looking at his time there. And I don't think they want that kind of attention on that. And I think that's one reason. Now, he's always said he's had other priorities. I think the oil spill was one reason.
Well, no, that's another issue, Wayne. You keep bringing up great points. It's admitted he was in Indonesia longer than he said. Then he lied about being in the Muslim school. It's fine if he's a Muslim, but why lie about it? I mean, everything he's ever told us is a lie. You went over that earlier. I mean, when the parents met, when the grandparents met, when all this happened, we learned it's all a fiction.
Well, and the other thing I discovered is when they were, before they went to Hawaii, they were in Mercer Island, Seattle, in the state of Washington, and I did find in a list of these CIA people the name of the chief engineer for Boeing, and his area of primary assignment was Mercer Island. Now, Madeline Dunham worked for the Boeing Corporation during World War II in Wichita, Kansas, so he's the only guy listed with the agency in Mercer Island. You know, we got to figure the time frame here. You could conspiracy or coincidence, but I think that's much more than a coincidence.
But we know his father's involved in all these secretive activities. Now Obama's involved with Odinga, having the Muslims riot to create the prime ministership for him. I mean, just everything Obama does is dastardly. Everything he does is skullduggery laced. And it's just at every turn. And then there's the secrecy. And so I think you've conclusively proven that the media has been involved in a cover-up of this guy's true history. And everything we know about Barry Soetoro is a complete stinking lie. Final segment straight ahead with Wayne Madsen. WayneMadsenReport.com. Our site's at GCNlive.com. We haven't done one since Monday. You want me to do it again? I appreciate the work you've done. I want people to read Wayne Madsen's report, and I want them to read the breakdown that we've done on top of it. So I want you to search this key term and make it the #1 search term today. And I'm going to launch another one next hour. We'll hit them with 2 torpedoes. But the article isn't ready at prisonplanet.com separately on what Google's doing, trying to take over the web with Verizon. So that'll be launched at 30 after with Joel Skousen next hour. But I want you to search the term Bombshell Barack. Bombshell Barack. Bombshell Barack. and then that will lead them to WayneMadsenReport.com. Search the term Bombshell Barack right now, and that will lead them to this investigation. We'll post these videos later at YouTube. We'll link those in. And Drudge Report routinely then links to this, and we can push this mega viral thanks to you taking action. We'll expose this CIA-created asset. Bombshell Barack is the search term. Bombshell, one word, B-O-M-B-S-H-E-L-L, Barack. Please take action. We're 10 for 10. We've done this 10 times. You have never failed in the info war. Bombshell Barack. And we're going to launch another torpedo in T-minus 35 minutes. Closing comments, Wayne Madsen. I hope people will support your investigative journalism by subscribing. You give most of what you do away for free, but it's important that people support you as an investigative journalist. How do they subscribe to WayneMadsenReport.com?
Well, you just go to Wayne Madsen Report, M-A-D-S-E-N Report, all one word, .com, and you'll see a thing that says Join Now. Click on that, and it'll step you through the process. You know, it is time-consuming to go through, locate, and then go through these extensive files because we're talking about kind of ancient history, you know, the CIA, 1960, 61, up through the 70s, and there's a lot that you just have to piece it together, and it's a very time-consuming process. But I'm going to continue to try to delve into this background because, as I said, this should have been done in '08. It wasn't done, but I guess the old saying, better late than never, applies here, too.
Well, you certainly deserve respect and support, Wayne. We've got about a minute and a half left in this hour. Any other key tidbits or points you wanted to make?
Well, I noticed that in his mother's passport records, there was a name that had been crossed out, Suharto, which is yet another name we have in addition to Sotoro. I guess the question is, who is Suharto? Who was he? Who is he? Was that another name assigned to President Obama when he was in Indonesia?
How do you spell Suharto?
S-O-E-H-A-R-K-O.
Very suspicious. Anything else?
Well, I would just urge people to, you know, while we have the internet, and you know it's under tremendous assault by the guys like Cass Sunstein and his friends, just search all this information out, save it, because it may become useful later on before it disappears entirely.
I agree. They're clearly telegraphing they're planning to launch false flag attacks on the web, blame it on China or Russia, and use it as a way to start controlling it.
Absolutely.
WayneMadsenReport.com. Wayne Madsen, thank you for spending an hour with us. Look forward to speaking to you in the near future. We'll continue to watch your reports on your great website.
Okay, thank you.
You bet. There goes Wayne Madsen.